you can't just type it in your calculator and give me an answer. So you get as far as you can. Some of you may get done with all 6. Some of you may get done with 3 or 4 before we go over it. Write the original problem down. Do it on the back. Show your steps how you're doing that. Okay. And really, you cannot just write the answer down. Okay. Use your calculator. Definitely allowed to do that. And I know he's going to come and mark it off. I'm just going to start in the back just so I can.
Guys, we gotta make sure. I don't know where I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. You can buy terms around you can't combine them. Like if they're gonna do it, so you can't combine them. Well, you have one that's in the place, so you can go.
I'm already.
Huh?
I did it.
I got you. You can't combine these. Guys, if you have a number with an X in front of it, like 10x plus 4, guys, you can't combine those. Well, I'm seeing that a lot. Like 10x plus 4, you guys are going, that's 14x. No, it's 10x plus 4. You cannot combine those.
You can't combine them. I don't think
30 minus 9 plus 4, you always go left to right. Add some half left to right. Yep.
These 3.
Madison, did you finish? I'm sorry. Did you guys mix up? You finished? Okay, now see at the bottom one? You gotta combine my terms, the X's and the numbers together.
That's good. That's why we go over it.
Okay, you got it distributed. Got it? Research
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go 8x plus 8. Where's this at? Okay. What's my combined? There. And No, Carrie. Well, yeah. But I'm just going to combine them right now. Because they're numbers. Right? Just combine your numbers and then the terms with the same variable.
Addition and subtraction are the same. You don't do addition.
You are.
You do whichever one comes first. If there's some different numbers, then you just work out the addition. You do whichever comes first. You say anything.
Oh, I didn't do this one.
All right.
What's that? Okay.
You done with this?
That's a plus five, right?
No, once you simplify it, come here right now.
Because it's two digits. All right, let's start looking at this stuff here. Good job from what I'm looking at and showing your work. Okay, I didn't see everybody's, but from what I'm looking at, and we'll get now. I'm just going to give you the answers for right now. We'll go over them in a second. -10 for number one. -10. The second one, +25. Okay. The third one, -4. The fourth one, 48. The fifth one, 2. And number 6 is 8. All right, now I'm going to ask you if you pick a person here. Mason, did you miss any?
Oh, I was in the bathroom. I only got 2 of them, but the ones I got right.
So, all right, so you didn't miss any here. All right, how about Ryan?
I missed number 3 because I accidentally messed up 6 minus 8.
Okay. Now, I want to take a look at a couple of these. I'm not going to go through all of them, but for number 3, hey, Austin, go shut that door. Okay, again, I'm going to encourage you
to do this mentally and encourage you to check it with your calculator. Because like I said, we have not gone over this maybe quite as much as we have in the past. So I don't know how comfortable you are. So 6 minus 8, and there's a lot of people that they're not sure what that is based upon whether it's adding or subtracting or the number. So 6 minus 8, double check it, especially on the quiz Monday. That's -2. So we make that -2 times 7 minus 5. That's +2. If you want to double check it, but you should be good on that one. Now, when I'm multiplying, I like to keep things in parentheses. Not absolutely necessary, but especially when I'm dealing with a negative number, if I put that in parentheses, it lets me know I'm multiplying as opposed to sometimes you can view it as a minus sign if it comes second. Well, this is just -2 times 2. A negative times a positive, it doesn't matter which one's negative, is always negative. So -2 times 2 is negative. All right. Now, I know this can be tough, but does anybody want to share, like, one you don't know how to do or one you would like me to go over? Okay, what you got, Ellie?
Number 1, I got -2. I don't even know how I got it. Like, I did it how I thought I should do it, but then.
All right, now I'm also going to ask you then if you can tell me your mistake when I'm done, just so that I can see, because I guarantee somebody else made it probably. All right, can you tell me what you did first? Ooh, I think I know what you did.
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you do? You did -6 plus 12?
Wait.
What do you have written down? How about
I did -6 plus 12, which got me, like.
that? They got you 6. Okay. Order of operations. You got 2 things here. I got a plus and a division. Which one do we have to do first? Got to do division. So we got to do division first. And I tell you what, it is so good when we can see these mistakes, because I know a lot of other people are making them and go over them as opposed to not seeing the right work shown. 12. That's a +12 divided by -3. Well, what's 12 divided by -3? It's got to be anytime you have a positive divided by a negative or a negative divided by a positive, it's going to be negative. Now, here's how I'm going to write that. I'm going to write that as -6 plus -4. Now, some of you might have written it as, did anybody do this? Did anybody do that? Okay, that would be equivalent if you wrote it that way. If you got a plus and a minus together, that can be rewritten as one sign. I'm not going to make you. Okay? You can type that in your calculator either way. Those are equivalent. So some of you might say, all right, I got -6 plus -4. And when I'm typing it in my calculator, I don't have to do the parentheses each time. Gives me -10. If I do -6 minus 4, it's going to give me -10. Either way, when you're combining, either adding or subtracting, and they both have the same sign, what I consider both a negative, it's always going to be negative. Okay, for that. So -6 minus 4 is -10. So that's number 1. All right, anything else we can go over? Yeah.
6.
Number 6. Ooh, absolute value bars. So I got 6. Absolute value of 3 minus 9 divided by 2 plus 5. Absolute value bars are like a parentheses. You have to do those before you can do division. So we can't try to divide yet. We got to do absolute value. Well, what's 3 minus 9? 3 minus 9 is -6. So that's -6 divided by 2 plus 5. The absolute value, before I actually do the division, I want to get rid of the absolute value bars. What's the absolute value of -6?
+6.
Always positive. So now I can just say that's 6 divided by 2 plus 5. Now I have to do division first. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay, 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay, for that one. All right, flip it back over to the other side. And I know we went through and we kind of talked to a few of you about some of your issues and some of your things you need to fix. But let's go through here again. A couple key things. Now, I didn't reinforce this, and I know I didn't tell Mr. Parker to, and I'm not sure if he did or not. But here's one thing. When you write an answer, I'm going to want the X part first, every time.
Okay, that's, I'll take the heat.
No, I won't.
Here's what I want. I don't want an answer of, for number 3, I don't want your final answer to be 12 minus 8x. We always write the variable first. Okay, so even though 12 minus 8x would be the first step, you need to rewrite that as negative 8x plus 12. Final answer. Okay, so always do that. So let me just go here. So you get 3x minus 18. Remember, you distribute. Whoops.
Yeah, I think a lot of times on the mistakes I saw, like in number 2, you guys wrote 3x. You might have been good on that. Guys, you got to multiply the 3 times the negative 6 also. Okay, a lot of times, like especially when you got down to number 10, you just went and you would just distribute the 2 to the 4x and not to the negative 2.
Okay.
That's the big mistake I saw.
And we're going to hit this again because this is a hard topic. Okay. So I'll go back up to the other ones. But 4, 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 3x is 18x. I'm going to reorder it as 18x plus 42. If you didn't have that on your paper, go ahead and reorder that. So just kind of get in the mental mind frame of always writing the x part first. Okay. And that's just for the final answer. 9 times 2x is 18x. Now think of this, you got to watch the signs. I treat this as a 9, and I think of this as a negative 4. 9 times negative 4 is negative 36. Whatever that sign is, that becomes then either my plus or my minus. So a negative 36, I just write it down as minus 36. Here you don't have any parentheses. You don't distribute. All you do is you look for anything with x's. Those can be combined. 2x plus 4x is 6x. And then any constants. So that's 7 minus 3. That's a positive 4. Write the x part first, 6x plus 4.
Guys, what I strongly suggest you do, you see how we went through before he simplified and he just did the like terms, circled them, underlined? I suggest you do that because we missed combining like terms a lot on this.
Go back up here. Again, this is another combining like terms. Now, when you're combining these, take the sign in front of the number. Negative, so I'm thinking of this as negative 3. And I can't type an x into my calculator, but I'll just do negative 3 minus 10. That gives me negative 13x. 6 plus 9, 15. So I'm always going to put the x part first. Now, number 8, negative 6 plus 6 add up to 0. You don't need to write 6x plus 0. And I didn't look at everybody's, but I didn't see many people do that. Just 6x is fine. Now we get into some cases where you got to do both cases. We got to distribute and we got to combine like terms. So for 9,
Yeah, I think this one, the problems really started.
okay, 3 times 2x and then 3 times 1. Well, that gives me 6x plus 3. When you have a number right on the outside and you got parentheses, that number has to multiply by everything in parentheses. It will not multiply by that minus 5 because it's not in parentheses. And now once you do that step, you say, do I have any like terms? I do. Positive 3 and negative 5. And that's where I get that negative 2. Same thing for 10, 11, and 12. And here's what we're going to redo some of these and they're guided notes, but just take a look at those. If you missed them, write down the correct work beside it. Don't erase your work because I like to see what mistakes you make. But write down the correct work beside it if you would for 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people, guys, when I was going around, I saw a lot of people go 10 plus 2. You guys did that first.
Yes.
And then distributed. You got to distribute first, guys.
Yeah, but you distribute first because that becomes that's a multiplication, and you got to multiply before you add or subtract. All right, so you just copy down the right word right beside it. Okay, just do that. Copy down the right word right beside it.
With negative 10.
Yep, just copy down the right word right beside it.
It's negative 3. It's negative 3 is outside. Negative 10 more.
Get that
So
one.
you add those.
Yeah.
Negative 15x. And then you gotta go 6 plus 9.
Yeah, add those are right terms. It's the 6 and the 9. They're just regular numbers, right? You gotta add them.
There we go. Hey, can you give me one? All right.
I thought it's you looked at the same question.
Yeah, distribute those. No, you need to write all that one down. Yeah, over here. So you're gonna go 2 times 4. And then 2 times -2 is another 4.
All right, we're gonna finish up dealing with some of these problems here that I just handed out. All right, so take a look. And like I said, so this is a topic we always hit twice. This is one we always hit twice. So number one, you see that at the top. Ooh, we're on the guided notes. All right, so we're on those guided notes now. And there's only 5 of them we're going to go over. If you got a constant on the outside, it is going to distribute. That is the word we use, which means it multiplies by everything on the inside. So 4 times negative 3x. Treat that as a positive times a negative. That is always going to be negative. And then 4 times positive 5 is positive 20. Is that in the form I wanted? Is the x part first? Are there any like terms? No, you cannot combine negative 12 and 20 because one is like apples and bananas. Okay, hopefully we talked about apples and bananas yesterday. Can't combine them unless you do a smoothie, which you probably did. How do I know? So negative 12x plus 20, done. You can't do anything else with it. The x part's first. All right, number 2. Take a look at that. Zach, you think you know what to do?
You should. No, I don't.
All right, then good. That's what you need to tell me. You need to tell me when you don't know it's big expand. When I ask Mason, then we're going to go over it. Mason?
5 times 3.
Okay. Yes. And I'm going to try to explain what's going on.
You want the 2b first?
Nope, not yet. Just in the final answer. Just in the final answer. Okay. You cannot, first of all, these are not like terms, but this 5 is right outside those parentheses. So that tells me that 5 is multiplying that parenthesis. So you have to do what we say distribute. Treat that as a positive 5 and draw those arrows.
Yes. Guys, draw the arrows there so you remember to multiply that 5 times the second term also.
And now this negative b is out in front. So that negative b does not get affected. Positive 5 times 3. 15. And now, here's what some people will do. They'll do 15. You have to put a sign. It's either a plus 15 or it's a minus 15. And we put the sign based upon what the answer is. A positive 5 times a positive 3 is a positive 15. Not done though, Mason, because what do I still need to do?
5 times 2b.
Which gives me what?
10b.
Do I put a plus or minus?
Plus.
Good. Plus 10b. Now we examine.
You do negative b minus 10b. Or no, plus.
Okay, I got a negative b. I got a 10b. What do you think that gives me?
9b.
All right, good. Now, if you're not 100% sure, here's what you do. Now, there's no number in front of that b. You're like, hey, what number's automatically there if it's just a variable? A 1. So think of that as negative 1. Now, on your calculator, you've got to hit the negative button instead of the minus sign when the first number is negative, or it'll give you an error. Plus 10, that gives me 9. So you were correct. So it's 9b plus 15. There is no other constant. 15 was the only constant. There's nothing it can be combined with. Done. Okay. Put your variable part first, either the x or the y or the b or the a, and then the constant second. Now, get a little razzle-dazzle here with number 3. Did you get to any of these, Mr. Parker, yesterday?
No.
All right. So we got 2 sets of parentheses. All right, so I don't want to go too fast, so make sure you keep up. You cannot combine anything at this point until you distribute. This is a negative 2. Draw an arrow to the 3. draw an arrow to the second part. Now, here's what's going to happen. All right. Anybody want to tell me what they think you get when you multiply those two? Okay, Mason?
-2 times 3 is -6.
Okay.
And then -2 times 4n is -8.
Okay, now here's where you got to watch, because what you need to do is you need to think whatever sign is here, you got to think of that as a -4, because here's what happens, because this is now a -2 times a -4. And what's a negative times a negative always give us? Positive. So that's going to be a +8, which means we have to make this a +8n. Okay, so that's probably going to be the biggest mistake I see right now. -2 times -4 is a +8. And if you make it the wrong sign, then the rest of the problem will be off. Treat this as a +4, whatever that sign is in front of there. Now also, everything we put down, we got to put a sign in front of there. So +4 times +7 is +28. +4 times 5 is +20n. Sorry, 5n. So make sure you got that. And when you distribute, that's where the parentheses go away. We don't need those parentheses anymore. Okay. Now at this point we say, do we have any like terms? Mason?
Yeah, 8n and 2n. 20n, I mean.
And what's 8n plus 20n?
28.
28n. Okay, now, all right, everybody think what that second number is going to be. Just in your mind, or use your calculator before you write it down. And then if you think you really know it, then put it down. But Abby, what do you think will go next? Or how do I get that? Okay, what's that give us? Gives us 22. And it gives us a +22. Doesn't give me a negative. So -6 plus 28 gives me a +22. So you got to make sure you put a +22 there. This one does not have a n with it. So we just write 28n plus 22. We're going to always put that n part first. Okay, that's just how it's accepted to be written. All right, now this second one. We got this minus sign here. Okay, we'll deal with that. 5 is here. That has to multiply both of those. 5 times 6y is 30y. 5 times -4 is -20. Okay? So you got to think of that as a -4. 5 times -4 is -20. Now, think of this as -3. -3 times 2 is minus or -6. -3 times a y is -3y. All right, you take a second and write down what you think the final answer will be. You take a second and you do that.
All right. Let's see. Rylan, help me out here. Okay, my variable here is y. Do I have another y term?
Yeah.
Where you at, Rylan? Okay, Rylan. What other term is there y?
Negative 3
-3y. Okay, 30 minus 3 is how much? Rylan. 27 what? Okay, done with that. Okay, do I have other like terms, Rylan?
Yeah.
What are they?
-26.
Careful. Did you say -6?
No.
Okay, -20 and -6. Okay, what's -20 minus 6? It's -20 degrees outside and it's going to get 6 degrees colder. No? Okay, you're a little short. What's 20 plus 6? So, but they're both negative, so what? -26.
And for me, this was the biggest mistake that I saw is that a lot of you just said, oh, that is 20 minus 6. And a lot of you put, oh, that's 14. Whatever sign is in front of the 20 goes with that. You have to think of that as a -20 when you are combining like terms. So that's -20 minus 6, that's -26. Like he says, in terms of like, a lot of times it's easy, like think temperature. It's -20 degrees out, it's dropping 6 more degrees. It's going to get colder. It's going to be but you got to think of that as a -20 first of all. Okay, for that. All right, let's do this last one here together.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right, this is a real important one. There's no number there. They're trying to trick you, but there really is. Okay, that minus sign in front of that parenthesis plays a huge role. You have to think if there's no number there, you have to think that that is a 1 in front of there. Okay, and you can write it in like that if you want. That's absolutely fine. You still have to distribute, and we'll get to a point where we're more comfortable. Where I'll just say distribute the negative. Well, you're distributing -1. You're multiplying that by -1 by both of those. And now that's going to give me, the 6x isn't affected yet. -1 times 2x is a negative times a positive. It's going to be a minus 2x. Now you've got to think this as a -3. What's -1 times -3?
Positive 3.
+3. So now this is going to be a +3. +3. Okay. Now what's 6x minus 2x? Mason?
4x.
4x. Those are our only two like terms. It'll be a positive 4x. It'll be +3. Okay, +3. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you a worksheet to start in class. We're not going to do the whole thing. Oh, you're so welcome. Still in a hoop, how long you been in a hoop?
Like a week or two.
What was that?
Like a week or two.
I think just these guys.
You guys ready for tonight?
Yeah.
All right. What's your best song?
Probably Illusion Renegade.
What was it, Renegade?
Like it's.
What was the
Grand
first word?
Illusion Renegade.
Grand illusion.
Grand
Sticks.
Illusion? Oh, and
Sticks.
Renegade? Oh, those sticks. Hey, all right. I'm not going to have you do them all. Let's see how good you are at math. You're going to do the odds. You know your odd numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. That'll be the left-hand side. You're going to do the odd numbers. Let's do a couple together. Okay, I'm going to do a couple. If you really know what you're doing, you can move ahead of me. If you're not quite sure, just keep following along. We'll try and get done with 3 or 4 here before you get out of here. Because something goofy happens on number 3 that a lot of people miss. You got 3 parentheses, 1 minus r, and then -7. The 3 will distribute to the 2 things in parentheses. Now don't write super big because it's going to take you about 2 lines for each one. So that'll give me 3 Think of this as a negative r. 3 times negative 1 is going to be minus 3r. This minus 7 is not affected. We want to write the variable first. You only have one term with a variable, which is the negative 3r. It will go first. So I'm going to have negative 3r. I got 3 and negative 7. Can anybody tell me what those combine to give me?
-4.
Negative 4. That negative becomes my sign. It's my minus 4. So negative 3r minus 4. Go ahead and box it, or go ahead and circle your final answer, just so that we're all on the same page. You're telling me you're done. Okay. Distribute. Now this 3 will go to the 7, and it'll go to the negative x. 3x does not get affected. 3 times 7 is a positive 21. 3 times negative x, think of that as a negative 1. You've got to make that a minus 3x. All right, as you look at that, I want you to see if anybody can tell me what the final answer would be. Okay. Addie?
Would it be just 21?
It would just be 21, because what's 3x minus 3x equal? 0. We don't write the 0 down. So that you don't write it as 0x. It's totally gone. So that final answer is 21. You try number 5. I'll do it in a second. You try number 5. And if you're really, really not sure, then you just go ahead and wait. And I will give you a hint. Think of this as a negative 4 when you're distributing.
Oh, positive.
Okay. All right. Let me kind of go through here. I'm not sure how far you are. First, negative 8x does not get affected, okay, because there's no parentheses around that. That's there. So now I got negative 4 times positive 5. That gives me minus 20. Okay, so negative 20, that becomes a minus 20. Now, you got to think of this as a negative 8x in that second part to make sure you get this correct. So you got negative 4 times negative 8x. That's going to be a positive 32x. It's going to be a positive 32x. Now I got two like terms. I got negative 8 plus 32. Negative 8 plus 32. So if it's minus 8 degrees and it goes up 32 degrees, it's going to go through 0, and I'm going to end up at 24. So I'm going to have 24x minus 20. Okay, 24x minus 20. All right, you keep working here. I highly encourage you. Those notes we just did, we did all those problems. You have them all written down correctly. Use those as a guide. Like, look back over those as you're doing these problems. Thank you. I guess that's a great book. I don't know if I so I'll do that. Abby doesn't have that yet.
I didn't ask her.
Oh, that's okay.
I didn't see if Juan had those either.
Who?
Juan.
Oh. Hey, you have that sign. You have that. I can't give you any. Okay. That's not enough. Hey, Ron, did you get that service sign?
We're good. It works.